Hey, it's American Lawn Sale fan. Just got over being sick. No, I didn't have the Wuhan cooties, but just got over being sick. Started cleaning up the garage and stuff, my workbench, everything. Also, found something that made me want to do a quick video, and that's about the Spyderco Yojimbo here. Long story short, I just came away recently with the conclusion that I'm just not a big fan of them. It's nothing personal, and I'm going to catch a lot of heat. Hey, if you love Spyderco, great, more power to you. Isn't it great to have your own opinion and spend your money where you want to? And so I have no beef with people who love Spydercos. I just don't personally care for them. Let me explain something. I've of course been purchasing, using, even training with knives ever since I was a kid, which was a long time ago. So I even remember when the Michael Walker first came out with his Walker liner lock. That shows you how old I am. So I was familiar with Spyderco when they first came out. Thought they were interesting, but just never got around to buying them. Around the early 2000s, I was a big fan of the Blackhawk line of knives. They had recently purchased the Masters of Defense line. Real quick, Masters of Defense was a knife company, tool company, that ideally was trying to use the opinions of combat experts and who then would go on to design weapons and tools and so forth. So the price points were real high. So what Blackhawk did is they bought the rights to Masters of Defense and then went ahead and made those same knives, or most of them, in more production packages. So at that time, Blackhawk made a number of different knives kind of designed or inspired by people like Kelly McCann, and of course Michael Janich was working there. He had already come out with the first Yojimbo. This is of course the Yojimbo II. But then he went to work for Blackhawk and made what was called the Be Warned, warned being spelled Warncliffe design. And I liked it. It was simple. It was Aus-8 steel, G10 handles, liner lock. But what I loved about Blackhawk design, the Blackhawk products, is they were made in Taiwan, but the quality control was just amazing. Everything was tight fitted, well made, simply made, but still well made. And I loved them. I had a collection of them. I have a few still. And I liked the original Be Warned. It looks similar, just liner lock. The only difference is it had a liner lock and there was a thumb stud, Aus-8 steel, but it was basically kind of the overall design, but it had a little different feel to it, in my opinion. I loved that design. Unfortunately, I wore it out. I used it as a hard-use knife, and it shouldn't have been used as such. But then I said, well, okay, well, at that time, the Yojimbo II had come out, so I said, well, maybe I'll look into that. I'd bought a Yojimbo II, but I bought a clone. And right off the bat, I could tell I bought it, a clone. It was a cheap Chinese copy. Fit and finish was just all wrong. Wasn't bad, but just was not tight. But the biggest thing was I could tell it was real subtle, but there was actually a slight curve in a Warncliffe blade, which just is not right. I mean, if you take this blade, this is a real one, if you take the blade flat like so, and you'll find the blade is completely straight. So fast forward to now, I started kind of looking into or reading more into some of my old books from Michael Janich, and I said, you know what, I've never really owned a true Spyderco. Why don't I just buy one? So I went ahead and bought from a reputable dealer a legitimate Spyderco Yojimbo, and right off the bat I can tell, okay, this is a real one. The lock works tight, the steel's right, the blade's right, fit and finish are good, and more importantly, it's a legitimate Spyderco dealer. Problem is, I came away going, wasn't that impressed. So as long as I've been collecting knives, this is my first true Spyderco, and it's just not me. First thing is, I'm not big on the hole. I know it was revolutionary at the time, but I prefer a thumb stud or a flipper, just me. And it's not that I can't do all the, weird flicks and stuff. It's just not really my style. I also came away not really caring for the handle design. Janish believes that he made it so that if you did want to use a saber grip, you could use it, but it was ultimately designed for his Filipino grip. I'll come over here and kind of show it. I'll do it this way. My problem is, in my opinion, this thing is almost entirely designed. It almost forces you to do the Filipino grip, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I also just don't like the way it feels, and I don't like it as a working knife. Yes, a knife is to me a half tool, half self-defense implement. So I like something that can serve as a little of both. And this tip is a little too aggressive. There's something nice about a little bit of a belly to a blade. It's great if you're doing very specific tasks, but for general tasks, no. I don't believe this is an ideal knife. And if you know anything about Michael Janich, and according to his own words, I think he kind of believes it too, because according to him, he carries two of these, one in his left pocket, one in his right, but he always says he has a Spyderco Delica in his back pocket. So that might tell you something. Like I said, just not a huge fan of it. Now let me say this, I am not bashing Spyderco at all, because I will say the fit and finish of this and the quality control is absolutely fantastic. Can't argue with that. This particular one is American made, so more power to that. Well-made steel, more power to that. And I am not dissing in any way, shape, or form Michael Janish. This is just my opinion. As a self-defense implement, yeah, it's not bad, but it's a very specific style. It goes more with the Filipino style. I'm kind of more of the, I guess you'd say I'm more the John Stiers, Kelly McCann, a little bit of Bob Casper, that kind of thinking in terms of a self-defense knife. The last thing I want to do is be in the meat grinder doing all these passes and so forth. And I was actually trained in a lot of this, and I admit it's fun, I admit it's very technical, I've met some really great people, but that's not where I want to be when it's life or death. I want to be away and basically sticking this thing or cutting at somebody's limbs as I'm yelling out and giving commands to back off, and then see if I can transition to my firearm or just escape. The last thing I want to do is start doing this. Of course, a fair argument, what if you just get blindsided? Yeah, that's true. But once again, I don't want to necessarily be in the meat grinder either. I have nothing but respect for Michael Janich. I actually have nothing but respect now for Spyderco. Oops. There you go. Just trying to do the inertial flip. Anyway, I have nothing but respect for this company. I always love American-based companies, especially ones who can produce as much of their products here in the United States as possible, and that is great, but it's just not me. So this will either get added to my collection or just sold. Either way, but it's probably going to be the last Spyderco I've ever bought. First and last. Just my opinion. It works for you, or if other Spyderco products work for you, great. Nothing but respect for them. God bless you. Those you love.